Less than 48 hours ago, everything was normal. Today, shelves are empty and fights are breaking out in stores. California is facing a food emergency, something that's never happened before. But what's truly shocking is how fast it all happened. Officials never saw this coming. Why is it happening? And how could this happen to one of the largest economies in the world? If you're in California, this could be unfolding right in front of you. If you're not, get ready. It's coming your way soon. The truth is, this crisis is bigger than just one state. It's not a random fluke. It's part of a much larger pattern. The food shortage in California, it's a ticking time bomb waiting to explode across the country. And it's not just about food running out. It's about a system built on fragile logistics, one that's now cracking under pressure. Why is no one talking about the real cause? And how long before this spreads to other states? That's the question you should be asking, because if this isn't fixed soon, the ripple effects will be felt everywhere. And you need to know exactly how we got here before it's too late. Here's the hard truth. This isn't just about people panic buying. Governor Newsom tried to spin it that way in his press conference. He called it artificial scarcity, saying Californians are reacting to rumors and misinformation. But here's what he didn't say. Over 4,000 truck drivers are actively boycotting California. And those trucks, the ones that keep the state's food supply flowing, they're still parked. And that's not just a minor glitch. It's the reason stores across California are already running out of fresh produce, meat, and essentials. You don't just lose food overnight, it takes days of disruption, and we're already past that point. But here's where it gets interesting. Why didn't Newsom mention the trucker boycott at all? Instead, he doubled down on blaming shoppers. Why the cover-up? What's really going on behind closed doors? This could be bigger than just a supply chain issue. And the clock is ticking. Now, let's take a step back. The situation in California isn't just a one-time disruption. This is the normalization of a disaster that should never have happened. We're watching a state's entire food supply unravel in front of our eyes, and it's happening faster than anyone expected. But this isn't the first time something like this has happened. Remember 2008? A global financial meltdown brought entire supply chains to their knees. This situation? It's a more localized version of that same systemic fragility. Now, imagine a system that can't handle even the slightest disruption. A state built on just-in-time logistics where stores carry barely enough food to last a few days suddenly has no food, and the worst part? It's not just a temporary blip. This is the new normal. When something breaks in a system this fragile, everything collapses. And California? It's the first domino to fall. What happens when the rest of the country catches up? The evidence of the collapse is already stacking up. Look at what's happening in stores. Costco in San Diego, the meat section is wiped out and the bottled water aisle completely bare. But it's not just the shelves, it's the human element. People are desperate. Fights over baby formula. Security guards limiting the number of people entering stores. This is not normal. In Fresno, Walmart had to put up handwritten signs limiting milk, bread, and meat to just a few items per customer. And get this, employees are now checking your cart before you can even pay, forcing you to put things back. Imagine that, rationing in the United States. Here's the kicker. This isn't some minor inconvenience. The state has no backup plan. The trucks that normally supply the shelves, they're still parked at the border and they won't move. Newsom's team tried to cover it up, but the facts are undeniable. The entire system was built to be efficient, but it was never built for resilience. When the trucks stop, everything falls apart, and it's already happening. Things are escalating faster than anyone could have predicted. Restaurants are closing early. Others are struggling to stay open, scrambling to make what little food they have last. Cisco, the largest food distributor to restaurants in the country, just told California clients that they can't guarantee any deliveries until further notice. That means thousands of businesses already operating on the edge are now facing a nightmare. They either close down or risk running out of food mid-service. Small businesses, especially restaurants, are already being wiped out in real time. But it doesn't stop there. Schools are next. California's public school system serves over 5 million meals every single day, and those meals come from the same supply chain that's now collapsing. Los Angeles Unified School District has already sent a memo to parents saying they're switching to a simplified menu. Translation, they're out of food. And if this boycott stretches into next week, breakfast and lunch for millions of kids are at risk. This isn't a hypothetical crisis. It's happening now, and it's about to get worse. Now let's talk about you, the real people caught in the middle of this. You may think this doesn't affect you directly, but it does. Families families across California are struggling to feed themselves. And this isn't just a minor inconvenience. This is real. Stores are running out of essentials. Fresh produce is disappearing. People are lining up, sometimes for hours, just to get basic supplies. And while Newsom blames panic buying, the truth is far different. What do you do when you don't know when the next truck will show up? You stock up, you act rationally. This isn't just a shortage of food. It's a shortage of trust in a system that should be reliable but isn't. If you've felt that unease, that uncertainty, say so in the comments. What's happening in your town? Are you seeing security guards, empty shelves, people fighting over what's left? You're not alone in this. The entire state is feeling it, but the bigger question is, when will the rest of the country wake up to this? Here's where it gets unsettling. This isn't just an unfortunate series of events. It's a direct result of how our system was designed. California's food distribution network runs on just-in-time logistics. This means stores don't stockpile goods. They rely on daily deliveries to keep shelves full. It sounds efficient, right? But here's the flaw. It has zero buffer. The moment those trucks stop, the entire system collapses. And what's worse, this system isn't just used in California. It's the backbone of supply chains across the entire country. It's all built to operate on razor-thin margins. A single disruption, whether from a trucker boycott or something else, and it's game over. Now, the very infrastructure that's supposed to protect us from disaster is failing. And what's even more terrifying is that we've ignored these warnings for years. Experts have been sounding alarms about the dangers of this fragile system, but no one listened. And now we're living through the consequences. So what happens next? There are two possible paths forward. The first, Newsom caves to the pressure. He suspends the legislation that triggered this trucker boycott. It would be a desperate move, but it might be the only option left to get the trucks moving again. But here's the catch. If he does that, it sends a message to every industry in the state. If you don't like a law, just shut everything down and the government will give in. That sets a dangerous precedent, and it would make Newsom look weak. But if he doesn't cave, the food shortage gets worse, and the political fallout, catastrophic. The second path? This crisis drags on. California's food supply continues to collapse, and the economic damage escalates. Farmers lose more money. Small businesses shut down. Public health systems, already stretched thin, start to break down. But one thing's for sure, the longer this drags out, the harder it becomes to fix, and the bigger the consequences for the entire country. California is just the first domino. What happens when the rest of the nation catches up? This is not a natural disaster. It's not a pandemic. It's not a cyber attack. It's a policy-induced collapse, an entire state brought to its knees because of one decision made in Sacramento. Governor Newsom's actions set this chain of events in motion, and now Californians are paying the price. From empty shelves to lost jobs to public health crises, this is the cost of ignoring the reality of a system that was always too fragile to survive disruption. Here's the takeaway. What's happening in California could happen anywhere. And when the trucks stop, everything we rely on falls apart. Share this video because people need to understand how close we are to the edge. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and know what comes next, hit that subscribe button now. We're tracking this crisis and it's far from over.